I feel like there's always like to start the year, there's always a throwaway horror movie that's thrown in at the beginning of January every year. I just like I don't know why it's always starts off with a shitty horror movie, but we are here to review The Grudge. JB, why?
Do you dare imply that this movie was shitty?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Film Frequency. I am one of your hosts, one of your film brothers, CEOHaize, just Hayes. We don't have to be formal like I said last time. I'm joined by my brother, the prodigal one, JB.
Yes, sir. Film bro number 2, the prodigal one, JB. How are you doing, people? CEO Hayes. I'm gonna be formal just since we're starting out. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. So we are here. For people who don't know, before we relaunched this podcast, it was the Fear Frequency because we're both horror movie fans, and I feel like there's always like to start the year, there's always a throwaway horror movie that's thrown in at the beginning of January every year. I just like I don't know why it's always starts off with a shitty horror movie, but we are here to review The Grudge. JB, why?
Do you dare imply that this movie was shitty?
All I can say is it's like it's like someone came up with and said, you know what? I have an idea for a new trilogy of Grudge movies, and they were like, look, we ain't got the budget for that, so they just threw all trilogy into this movie. That's
Liter-
exactly what I feel like this was.
You're 100% on the money. I kept on telling myself like, and here's the crazy thing. I feel like this is minimum 2 or 3 movies in one, and the runtime is like freaking an hour and a half. They fit all this shit into 90 minutes, and it was a lot of shit. Now we're gonna get into it, but I really feel like if they would have took a certain aspect out of this movie, this could have really been a good, really, really good movie. And we'll get into it because there was parts of this movie I actually did like, but the majority I hated. And I'm not even gonna make any qualms about that. I hated the fucking movie. So we'll get into it. But I just want to make this announcement real quick. Moving forward, we'll make this announcement every week. Obviously, we're going to talk about the movie. There will be a shit ton of spoilers. So if you haven't seen this or you want to know what happens, you don't want to know what happens, stop, watch the movie, and come back and listen to this at a later time.
Absolutely. There's going to be a shit ton of spoilers, so just get used to it. But let's get into it. Let's first, I guess we need to start this off by talking about the Grudge film. So this is a remake of a Japanese franchise, and the Japanese franchise, I believe, has at least 5 movies, and it's even crossed over and did a versus movie with Ju-On, or however you pronounce it, versus The Ring, which is like two of the most prominent Japanese horror films, and they've both been remade here. Like, so go and search it out because I haven't got to see it myself, but I did see or read some reviews that The Grudge versus The Ring is actually pretty good. It's all in foreign language, so that's what I've read. It's probably better than this bullshit. But so this franchise started off with Sarah Michelle Gellar in the first one, I believe.
Yes.
And the first one, I have fond memories of The Grudge. I don't know if it's because I was younger. Sometimes I'm easier to please with certain horror movies, as I've said before on this podcast many times. If I'm sitting around the house with nothing to do, I will turn on a shitty horror movie on Netflix and be okay. So I have pretty fond memories of The Grudge 1. The Grudge 2, it was okay. But coming into this one, I was at least expecting a dumb good fun. What about you?
So, firstly, regarding Juon and the Japanese version of Ring, it's called Ringu. I haven't seen the Versus movie, but I've
Mm,
seen in the individual movies, and they're amazing. They're
okay.
both better than their originals, and that says a lot because the original Ring is a great movie in my opinion.
Mhm.
And Grudge is okay, but yeah, definitely watch if you haven't seen it. Definitely go and watch Juon and Ringu. Now, in terms of my expectations, I had extremely high expectations for this because I'm like, it's Grudge, it's a sequel, and I've been just like waiting for a really good horror flick, and I'm like, I was kind of iffy because January you usually get a lot of shit in January. It's January and
Yeah,
February known as like the dump. They call it the dump months because you usually
yeah.
get a lot of shit those months. But I was like, you know what? It's Grudge. I'm confident we're gonna get something good, and then shit, I was totally wrong.
That's what you get for being confident in some bullshit like this.
Mhm.
And the thing is that we all, for people who are actually big horror fan, or not even horror film fans, we know January, it sucks. Like generally,
Yes.
that's why I'm worried about Bad Boys, because
Hmm.
it's coming out in January. And usually what happens is January becomes the dumping ground. The studios that put this money into movies, that they put too much money into, like just release it on Netflix, so it has to kind of do a theatrical release. They get thrown in January to kind of get it out the way. And as soon as this one had a release date in January, my antennas were up like, okay, this is probably going to be bad, but fuck it. Let's see. Um, Lin Shay, I want to say, is the best part of this movie. Most people would know her from the Insidious series of movies. I think she's the best part of this by far. But overall, like, this was just, it was just really dull, and you can see the where, like, I don't know, like, I really feel like, is this even is I don't know, man. My thoughts are all over the place in this movie. We'll get it out as we're talking about it, but like, what
Well,
just go ahead.
the fact that your thoughts are all over the place is absolutely perfect because this movie was all
It's
over the
all
place.
over the place.
And that's
Exactly.
probably why your thoughts are all over the place because my thoughts are all over the place because the movie was all over the place. At the beginning of the show, a couple minutes ago, I said there was aspects of this movie I really enjoyed, and those aspects was every second Lin Shaye was on my television.
Yeah.
That's the only story arc I actually enjoyed, and every aspect of it. I do think what was the name of it? I forgot what the name of the caretaker was. I don't remember what
Um,
her acting was horrible in my opinion.
they basically everyone's was in this movie, and
Yeah,
it's
which is really sad because Harold, or I don't know what I mean. What's Harold's real name? The guy from Harold and Kumar. Was it John
John
Cho?
Chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I've seen him in movies, and he's leaving out Harold and Kumar. I've seen him in other movies.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, and I just don't think this. I think the script was not good here. The directing, I did not enjoy. There's so many things, but Lin Shaye was that bright spot in this movie, and
Yeah.
I wish the entire movie actually was on that arc.
And that's where my problem is. And I said that it feels like they try to fit a trilogy into just this movie. You said that with the runtime, but my thing is that it just really seems like whoever the writer on this movie was unfocused as hell. And of course, you don't know what the performance is going to be. So when the writer was writing this, they probably had no idea that Lynn fucking Shay was going to be the one who was cast as Faith. But I think, like, that's where Audible should have been called, whether it was the director's decision, the producer's decision to say, hey, maybe we need to do a couple of reshoots and rebuild this whole movie around Lin Shay's character. And even with the scares, like, it's if it played more like they did the hand in the shower thing, like it was all things that we've seen in previous Grudge movies. And I feel like this film was completely devoid of any type of its own personality, or doing, like, this is one of those times where they rebooted a series just off the name recognition. It didn't feel like the director had anything original. It didn't seem like the writers had anything original, and it was like there was no tone in this at all, and that's highly important in horror films. And we're the the professionally unprofessional film critics, and I feel like I'm getting really, really, like, hard on my critique here, and it's just because I just feel like this movie is just a slap in the face of anybody who pays money to see it, because it's like they just didn't even think to do anything intelligent on the screen.
No, you're 100% correct. And you literally took the words out of my mouth because it feels like a group of college kids got together and made this movie from the editing to everything about this movie. And I'm not trying to shit on the staff that did this,
Mhm.
but I honestly think the reason this movie was made was to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
And you literally said just on the namesake because it doesn't seem like much effort or thought was put into it. They have a decent cast, but it just wasn't. I didn't resonate with the movie. Now, when you watch a horror movie, one of the biggest things I think a goal, like if I was a director or I was a writer, my main goal would be whoever my main character is, I need the audience to gain sympathy for this character. So when they're in distress, their family's in distress, the viewer is worried. In this movie, I could give a fuck who dies. I didn't care about anyone. Literally no one. I wasn't intrigued by anyone. I didn't feel an attachment to anyone. And when you miss that in a movie, it's gonna take you out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's four families that this movie's built around. It's the Landers, the Spencers, the Mathesons, and the detective was Madoon, something like
Muldoon,
that.
I think.
Muldoon, and so it, it's it. This is just an overly convoluted plot. Like even me trying to, if I was to try to give a synopsis of the plot, it would take almost as much time as just watching the fucking movie to give a synopsis of the plot. It's like this whole weird things happen in different time periods, and it, bro, it was so fucking unfocused. It's ridiculous, and
Yeah,
it wasn't like, do you? Okay, here's my thing. Because we have the four different families, this was told in non-chronological order, so you kind of over the course of the film, you kind of start putting together what happened when.
I
Do
believe
you feel like
was it 4, 5, 6, and 9? Was it?
yes?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think that this would have been better, and maybe more of a better tone if this was kind of made as a Netflix special and just four episodes and a different family each night? On the last episode, we see kind of how it all came together.
Like an anthology type of thing?
Yeah,
100% yes.
because it's all
Because they
built
could have
around this house.
focused, yeah,
Yeah,
they could have focused on each story rather than meshing it all in. And the whole thing was a mess. It was so convoluted. Your idea is actually great. Turn it into a Netflix series and have it into like 4 separate parts. Or even if you want to go 5 and make that fifth one where they all intertwine,
yeah.
that's fine as well. Make them like an hour each, 45-minute each. I think it would have been great. But obviously, they didn't go that route. And they wouldn't have gone that route because, again, I think that the truth here is they were just trying to get a big buck off the box office. And I just looked at the numbers. I mean, I think they've grossed like about $5 million. They're still in the hole right now.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing with horror films is that it was made for $10 million. Between whatever it does in the theaters, this is just week one, so it's probably gonna, by the end of its domestic run, it's probably gonna get. I'd say even if terrible, at least 12 million box office. I think is what it's gonna do at the bare minimum, and then DVD sales on top of that. Plus, somebody's gonna pay to stream this shit. They're gonna make money
Plus
off
worldwide.
this. Yeah, plus
Japan, this
worldwide.
is probably going to be huge in Japan.
Yeah. So, well, it's so yeah, they're gonna make money, and it's like I just wish that there would have been some type of passion behind it because the whole thing of a haunted house is like hell. Me and you talked about the series, The Haunting on Hill House on Netflix. Like, I know we never did a full review on it, but that was just based off how the house affected this family. This is like the perfect setup. Even if they didn't want to do it on Netflix, if you wanted to do a theatrical release, you can do anthologies theatrically. Like you can do that in the movie theaters. I think that would have been a way better do. Like make the house the character and all. Like because we don't care about any of these families because they didn't do a good job at that. Had they made the house the character and the ghost and everything, and that's what we're there to see. Like we're there to see people get fucked up. It would have been better. But because you try to half-heartedly make these about characters that we ultimately didn't care about, like the whole, like you said, the John Cho family, I believe that's the Spencers, didn't give no fucks about it. Like the thing that's more messed up about it is that the unborn kid was killed. Other than
Right.
that, nobody. I didn't give a damn.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And well, obviously now we're not even gonna like you made a great point about the house. That could be the main character moving forward if they decide to go. But now we're not even gonna get that because
No.
the freaking house burned down. So that was your main character, and the house burned down. So it's just, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what the thought process was behind this. I don't know what they were trying to go for. And let's talk about the jump scares real quick because the jump scares, number one, were so predictable. Number two, they were so mediocre.
Mhm.
Forget about being predictable is one thing, but being mediocre, there was not one time that I actually jumped. What it felt like is they shot this whole movie and then went back in and edited like literally input every one of those jump scares. It didn't this movie was not, at least in my opinion, didn't have a continuous flow. It was just very choppy. 99% of the jump scares, I felt like it was edited in after the fact. Obviously, I'm sure it wasn't, but that's how it felt like because it just didn't flow. What do you think?
No, I agree with that. And the thing is that jump scares can be effective. That's why they're such a trope in horror. That they can be effective. Like that helps set the tone. But when you do jump scares, and that's really it. Like this movie was, it's like going on a roller coaster, and the whole roller coaster is the click, click, click going up, and then they're like, "Oh, you're done."
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Like that's it. Just blue balls.
Yeah, yeah. And so And the thing is that like the original Grudge, it those like the boy making the cat sound like that,
Oh man,
it's so creepy. Like,
that kid alone beat this entire movie.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I don't know, man. I don't, and I hate it because this is like the first time we're doing a review and we're both so down on the movie. And coming into this, I'm just like, but it would be disingenuous to not do a movie just because we both hate it. Like I
Right.
feel like we do need to do the review. But yeah, the jump scares were terrible. I even say like the directing seemed very amateurish, and I don't know what else the director has done, if he has done anything. But it'll be different if somebody like released this and it was like a college like student or a film student that just like made this
Sure.
as kind of like, then okay, I can forgive that. Like Paranormal Activity isn't the best shot movie, but we know that it was the story behind that. And yeah, it got better as far as cinematography as it went on, but this was just, bro, there was somebody in Sony needs to be fired behind this movie coming out.
No, I agree with that. And actually, I'm looking it up, and I remember I had heard about it too. The writer of this is Nicholas Pesci. I don't know if it's pronounced Pesci. He's the writer and director. The only notable thing I see here on his filmography is The Eyes of the Mother. I don't know if you ever heard
Okay.
or seen that. He directed, and I believe he directed and wrote that movie. So he's still pretty young in the game. I mean, this is only his third movie under his belt. But yeah, just a not good movie. I mean, I'm trying to, outside of what's her name, Linda Shay. Is that her name, Linda Shay?
Lin Shay.
Lin Shay.
Yeah.
Outside of Lin Shay, I'm trying to think of other bright spots or anything in this movie, and I'm grasping, and there's really nothing. I mean, some of the acting was really, really terrible. I mean, like I said, that one caretaker lady, her acting was terrible. The one scene, I want to say it was about 30 minutes in, when John Cho was there, and you see the little girl, and her nose
Yeah.
is bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
His reaction is, "Oh my God, your nose is bleeding." But there's a girl. First of all, this girl came out of nowhere. Second of all, her nose is all bloody, and that was his reaction. It was just way too calm. And then, I mean, I could
Creep
pinpoint a million
vibes,
things like
bro.
that. What's that?
Creep vibes. Big creep vibes.
I, I don't even. It's. I don't even know what to say.
So, and Sam Raimi's name was attached to this.
That's nuts. What was it? What was he though? I mean, like an
The
executive producer?
producer.
Yeah, but I always
That,
felt that producer title is so.
bro,
Everybody's a
producer, they
freaking
throw they
producer.
honestly, you know what happens in produce, especially when there's more than one producer. So there's another producer in here, Rob Tappert. He was probably the
The
actual
main
producer.
right.
I am willing to bet Sam Raimi's gonna have a movie come out soon. And what they did is they said, all right, look, if you let us throw your name on here on The Grudge as producer, we'll give you X amount of budget on your film. You can do whatever you want, but we kind of need you to take one for the team on here because this film shit.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you remember, we talked about Grudge. It might have been on one of the Keeping It Reels, or I don't remember, or it might have been even been off air.
I was anticipating this movie
But why were we anticipating this movie?
because of the history behind it and Sam Raimi's name.
Exactly. In the history, yes, but because we heard Sam Raimi's name, we were
Yeah.
like, "Whoa!" Because remember, I think we had talked about he didn't do a horror movie in like a long time, and we were like, "Oh, he's coming back." But there's no way that this is like a heavily produced Sam Raimi movie. And no,
Oh,
I refuse to believe that.
I I am willing to bet that if he was even on set during when this was made, it was literally just to show up. Just so people could. So if the paparazzi said that, oh well, we saw Sam Raimi outside of the Grudge where they're filming the Grudge at. Like other than that, I am close to willing to bet that he did not show up a day on set on this at all. He didn't have any meetings. He wasn't in any of the production meetings. None of that shit. Like he just collected a check here. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it really sucks because I truly did enjoy, and I know I said it a bunch of times. I keep repeating myself, but I really did enjoy Lin Shaye's parts here. I mean, her acting was the first scene we got out of her. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that old peekaboo scene? And immediately I was like, okay, I'm into this already. Whoever this lady is, I mean, whatever her role is, I'm into it. And the whole storyline with her husband and the caretaker, and then just to fast forward, the caretaker walks into the kitchen and she's like, looks like she's cutting off maybe some carrots or whatever. Finds a husband dead. The lady's cutting off her freaking fingers. And then later you get her in the, I guess that was a hospital or a mental institution. I don't really know what that was. And, she fell off the thing. Every aspect of that I loved. But that was all I loved. That literally was all I loved. This may be the shortest review.
That's the thing, and I hate to shortchange you guys with a shorter review, but I mean honestly, this movie was fucking terrible. There was nothing redeemable about this movie. Well, Lin Shaye's performance, and other than that, go ahead.
My bad. Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
You might think I'm fucking nuts, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. There's been a lot of movies, probably back when we were kids, maybe even before our time, that were absolute dog shit. Mm-hmm. However, over time, 10 years, 15, 20 years, they became cult classics. Is there any possibility this is that? Ever?
I don't think this is ever going to be a cult classic. Like I said, the most thing that I can see this becoming is it being like, after the disappointment wears off, maybe it'll be a cool Netflix watch when you're bored one day. Like, just maybe. But the thing is that, like I say, there's no, like, sometimes with horror movies it's about the scares. Like, maybe the story is completely shitty, but you show up for the scares. You show up for a performance. You show up because the slasher's cool or entertaining. Like, Lin Shaye's performance is great because she's great in everything.
Yes.
But I don't even see that bringing me back to this.
No, I'll never watch this ever again.
Yeah.
Nor do I recommend it. I know I'm shooting that a little bit early, but I would never do that to anyone, even my worst enemy. Don't watch this.
Yeah, I really do wish I had more to say about this movie.
Well, we've done this in the past, so let me ask you this: if your name was behind this, what would you have done differently?
I think what the idea that I came up with is making the house the character, and then I think making it more of a, maybe cutting down the families, maybe making it just two families, maybe a third one probably at the end to like wrap it all around or something like that. But I think what I would have done differently is have it happen over a longer period of time, at least with the first family, right? So maybe the whole first act is just one family.
Yeah.
And you're setting the tone to like, more creepy shit's popping back up. And then it'll be interesting to have, that family gets completely murdered off. When you go into the second act, you come in with a new family moving into the house. And then all this shit is happening. Like, it's 2000. It's all at once, but all these families are basically moving in right after each other. And my thing is if you push that back some. So have the Landers family was in there in 2004. The Mathesons moved in 2005. What if you have it to where the Mathesons didn't move in until 6 years later, right? So that way, like, the stories of that family being murdered or whatever, like, people aren't talking about it. Or maybe the other neighbors have moved away, so nobody, like, you would think if you're moving in there right after the two families before you were killed, you'd be like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna buy this one.
Yeah, they didn't give this shit a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
It was too much, too quick. It's just they didn't give it a chance. They didn't give each storyline arc a chance to breathe, and it felt like it was all just overlapping one after the other. To where I don't think I realized. I don't know at what point I actually realized that these are different timelines. I think they said it from the very get-go, but I might have missed it. And then I realized, like, later on, like, wait a minute, this is not all the same timeline. And that's how confused I was, because you're seeing the one constant that you saw was the house. And I guess that's how I was able to figure out, like, wait, this is not the same timeline, because how could two different sets of people be in that same house? It doesn't make any sense. Exactly. Then I realized, and then I think at one point in the movie, they said, like, 2004, 5, 6, and 9, I believe is what they said. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, man, it's just really,
you know what would make, like, to even take my idea a little bit further, what would make, if the Grudge series decides to go forward and they make another one, maybe instead of making it just a single family house, what if you make it in like an apartment complex?
Yeah.
That's haunted. And then you like get these people on different floors and different weird shits happening throughout the building. That may be an interesting take on it. But overall, I really would just, this goes back to what I've been saying. Like, let's build new franchises. When you give someone something like The Grudge, which, even though it doesn't have the most storied history here in America, we know what it has in Japan. But instead of giving someone that, you can easily say, "Hey, we want to kind of do the ring thing, but have like we want to do the haunted house thing or the curse thing, but do your own thing with it. Let's not tie it to the Grudge name. Do your completely own thing with it, and give people a chance to build their own franchises up. Like we overall, and I get it. Like we've talked about kind of the release dates. There's not a lot of new franchises each and every year. That's part of the reason why I did like Knives Out so much, is because we don't get a lot of new franchises anymore. We get a lot of reboots, a lot of sequels, a lot of well, if you want to still call them sequels, where they're like 10 years down away from the last movie. We're gonna get a lot of that over the year. I really want to see some new franchises be built up,
Is
and
that
then it's like when we do get new stuff like that, Trick or Treat was one of my favorite movies from the year it came out. I don't even remember how long it's been at this point.
it
We
was the
never got a
2000s?
sequel
Yeah.
to it. So
No.
like, let's actually give these new franchises a chance to build up, because if we keep getting shit like this after Child's Play, I'm over fucking
Oof.
horror remakes, bro.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I feel like it's a win. It's risk and reward, right? Because the thing is, they're trying to feed off the name. Grudge is a name. We're not saying they made billions of dollars, but it was still a name that people were attached to. And leave out Grudge, just all these other reboots that we've had a billion reboots already. Child's Play, and not even only in the horror scene, everywhere we're getting reboots, we're getting sequels, but we need new stuff
Yeah,
because the new stuff now, 2 years from now, are going to be the sequels. And then 10 years from now, those are going to be the reboots.
yeah.
10 years from now, they can't be doing reboots from 1970 something or 1980 something. I mean, they need new things. I mean, that's the only way to kind of reinvigorate it. And what I want to do is even go a little bit deeper. Is that a lack of creative, like just people being creative? Is that laziness when it comes to writing? Is just easier to go off of another story, or are they just thinking about the name? It's easy way out. I mean, what is it?
Well, you so it's not just one thing. So you do get some of these reboots where people honestly have unique ways to bring back or to play off something that happened that has happened before, right? So you get some of the things where people honestly want to, like, they grew up on something, they have like a cool, interesting idea, and they are actually passionate behind it. But I think more times than not, it's a cash grab by the studios. I don't even know if it's the writers, it's the studios. Like if you own a franchise, you got to think about it. Just like me, if me and you own the name to fucking Saw, Halloween, and Freddy Krueger, right? We're gonna keep trying to go back to that because
True.
like every like we're getting these attempts at reboots like every 3 years. Like they'll try to reboot something, it will or won't work. So they'll let it breathe 3 years, and then they'll try to reboot it again. The only reason we haven't gotten like Friday the 13th is because that's been held up in fucking court,
Yeah,
legal shit over who owns it. We probably would have had like two more reboots of that,
at least.
and we didn't get any Freddy Krueger reboot because the last one was so fucking horrible. They're trying to give it some time. Like,
Well, the
well,
rumor
that's
is,
coming though.
yeah, and but they're
Yeah.
gonna bring back Robert England, which they should have probably done in the first place. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you heard this. I think they're coming out with another Halloween as well.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
two of those. They're filming them back to back. We're also getting Candyman. That's coming
Yes.
back. Jordan Peele's doing that one though, so I'm interested to see what he does with that franchise. So it's like Jordan Peele doing Candyman. I really do honestly believe he can do a great
It's gonna be
Candyman
a fresh
movie.
take.
Yeah, because he's tone and horror. He does that great. So it's I don't know, man. And I really hate being so down on a film and reviewing it, because I don't like kicking anyone whether down or just being a negative Nancy. And I know this movie's gonna have really bad reviews all over the place, but I have to be honest. Like part of having this platform is that we have to be honest when we see shitty films. And unfortunately, this is a terrible way to start off the year, but it was just bad.
But please, to all the film fans out there, if you disagree with us, we want to hear it. Please let us know what your point of view is. Later, Hayes is going to talk about our discussion group on Facebook. But let us know if you disagree with us. That's what the platform is for. We want all opinions. We're going to express our opinions. We want to hear your opinions because, from our point of view, we didn't see shit on this movie. But maybe you did. Maybe we missed something. We want to hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe as a mini so down the road, we'll watch Ringu versus Juan one day, and that may be fun for us to do a mini episode on. And I mean, going forward, we're still really excited for the year. The next full review we'll be doing is Bad Boys for Life, which I know you're more excited about than I am. Well, you're more hopeful. I am excited to see the movie. It's just I'm not hopeful that it's going to be good.
So, firstly, Bad Boys. I really want Bad Boys to be great. I don't give a fuck about the franchise. I don't give a fuck about the movie. The only reason why I want it to be good is for Will Smith, because his last couple movies have been absolutely crap. Gemini Man was crap. Men in Black International, in my opinion, was crap. Um, the last movie he came out with that I actually enjoyed was Suicide Squad, probably, which a lot
Well,
of people thought was
he
crap.
wasn't in Men in Black International.
Oh yeah, my bad,
yeah.
my bad. You're right. You're right. He wasn't. The movie was still crap though.
Yeah.
But the last couple things he done has been crap actually, and he just needs this one really bad.
Gemini Man was such a like the action scenes were great in it, but it was just a boring movie. But I did like the Netflix one he did, the Netflix exclusive.
I might not have seen that.
Yeah, I can't remember the name off of, but it was like with fairies and trolls and stuff. It was actually really good.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. So I know it's really early right now, but just take a guess. I just looked up Grudge's Rotten Tomato. Let's start with the tomato meter first. What do you think?
Shit, I'd be surprised if it's above 25%.
Well, you always say, and you're correct, that the audience is usually higher. What do you think the audience is?
32%.
Tomato meter 16%.
16.
Audience 19%, and that's with almost 1,000 ratings.
Oh my god, that is just fucking terrible.
I'll tell you right now, this is absolutely the worst movie of this decade. Hands
I like
down.
what you did there. I like what you did there. So let's just so we can end on a more positive note. What are you looking forward to in 2020? Not just January, not like throughout the whole year. Like we know stuff may get pushed back. What are some of the things you're looking forward to us reviewing in this upcoming year?
I really haven't looked too much into the year. A lot of this shit I'm gonna say, you're probably gonna be like, what? Mm-hmm. But Bird of Prey, I'm a huge Margot Robbie fan, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, I didn't even know this movie exists until like 3 days ago. I don't even know if you know. There's this movie with Ryan Reynolds. It's not Deadpool. Oh man, it's called like Free.
Free. Oh damn it! What is the one where he said in the video game? I'm really looking forward to that movie.
I don't know if you got a chance to see the trailer, but
yeah,
the visuals on that movie is going to be amazing. And also, it's freaking Ryan Reynolds. And a lot of people have seen what he did in Deadpool, but before Deadpool, he did things like Van Wilder. This guy is hilarious. And this movie, I think, is going to be like a comedy as well. But it just looks so beautifully that it was beautifully shot, and it's gonna be funny as shit. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, I heard some rumors that they're gonna be having a movie where I think it's gonna be a spin-off of the old Sopranos show. For you Mafia fans, Sopranos was obviously a big HBO show back in the day. I think they're coming out with some sort of spin-off of that. Something the Saints. I really don't remember. I think I read about it somewhere, but that's one I'm looking forward to. There's a couple things I can't remember all off the top of my head. That's all I can really remember off the top of my head. What about you?
So, Free Guy is definitely what I'm looking forward to. Yes. Halloween Kills, I'm looking forward to as well. I know I was a bigger fan of the new Halloween. I was a bigger fan on that than you were. King Kong versus Godzilla, of course. Yeah. Black Widow, of course.
Yes.
Ghostbusters. I
feel like we're gonna be having the same discussion.
What I'm gonna say on that is that the one trailer, I love the tone that they said in the trailer. I love how much fun it was with the kids. I want to see more, but I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I don't have faith that it's going to be great, but I am looking forward to it as it stands right now. And then The Conjuring 3, the Conjuring series is my shit. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. That's just some stuff that's off the top of my head. I know that there are more stuff coming out. My kids are looking forward to the Scooby-Doo movie, so pray for me on that one because I just think that's going to be the biggest piece of shit.
I feel like we're forgetting some major movies, but I can't.
We're definitely forgetting them. Well, the major ones, I try to steer clear of the major ones because the major ones, like Wonder Woman, definitely looking forward to that.
1984. I saw another trailer today.
Yeah, Birds of Prey, which you mentioned, I'm looking forward to. Top Gun, I'm looking forward to that one as well. The Eternals from Marvel, I'm a Marvel fan, so anything Marvel, I'm always going to look forward for. So there's a lot of big movies that we didn't mention, but the big ones, everyone's kind of excited to. They're big movies. I wanted to mention some of the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a fun year, and 2020 has its work cut out because 2019 had some freaking fun. I can't remember a year that was packed with so many phenomenal movies. I mean, I can literally name 10 movies right now that were easily 4 out of 5 or better stars. 2019 was an amazing year for movies.
Yeah, it really was. And Disney made $10 billion before Star Wars came out this year, which is just wild. The fact that they made that in one year, they'll probably not have another year like that until they build up to the next big thing. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Okay, here's one thing that I want to ask you. What are your feelings on Doolittle, Robert Downey Jr.?
I don't give a fuck about Doolittle, but I mean I do care. I want to see how Robert Downey is in a role outside of Iron Man because I don't even know if I remember what he looks like outside of Iron Man.
Yeah. It's been so long since we had like something like that. A Quiet Place Part Two. I'm looking forward
Oh
to.
yes,
That's
yes.
absolutely I'm looking forward to because that first one was amazing.
For
Um,
more of like smaller movies, since we're in January, so this is a January movie. It's not like going to be a huge blockbuster like some of these other movies, but Tiffany Haddish, it's a movie called Like a Boss. It's coming out in like a
yes,
week or two. I
yeah,
saw the trailer, I think like 2 nights ago. It looks funny as hell.
yeah. Christopher Nolan, Tenet. We're both big
Yes,
Nolan fans.
yes.
Um, so yeah, there are a lot of movies that are coming out this year. So hopefully we're not on this end of things as much going forward. But hey, it's January. We knew we were gonna have a dud in January. That just goes without saying.
Exactly, exactly. So
Well,
it is what it is.
it is what it is. But let's go ahead and send the people on their way. JB, give your social media if you any parting words if you have it.
Yeah, I mean, just it's the beginning of New Year. I know people don't want to hear negative shit for what are we on about 30, 45 minutes now.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we're never gonna just give you fluff just to give you fluff. We've never been those type of people. If something is bad, we're going to shit on it. But hopefully the next one's good. We got Keeping It Real coming out next week, and then we're gonna do a mini-sode. We're still ironing that out. But yeah, basically, my Twitter, I can be reached at the P1JB. That's at THEP1JB. And on Facebook, I can be reached Javid Basharullah.
Absolutely, and going forward too. One thing that we've talked about is we're going with the minisodes like during March and April, where it's like blockbuster season, there'll probably be smaller reviews of the movies we don't get full episodes on. But in between that, like when it's not anything major going on, like you can get retro reviews. We've talked about doing some channel surfing, which will be if we talk about TV shows. So going forward in 2020, if there's any TV shows you'd like to see us do a recap on once the season ends, let us know because we're definitely open to doing that as well. It's gonna, we relaunched this podcast with what like 2 months left at the end of the year, and we're trying to formulate how the film frequency was going to be in the long run. And in 2020, you're going to get to see a lot of that. You guys already seen what we've done with Keeping It Real, how we've turned that into something. You've seen our mini-sodes. We'll be having more consistent content on YouTube if you want to see us as well. That's been on me. That's not JB. I will admit that. So yeah, just going forward. Also with the Golden Globes coming on, we're going to be posting to our Facebook group just a conversation that you guys can be a part of during the awards show, so we can talk about winners, losers, and everything. So definitely want to check that out as well. Search for the film frequency there. That happens. Oh God, by the time you listen to this, it'll already happen. So
Yeah.
you missed out on it.
You could go back and read it.
Yeah, you can go back and you can still comment on it
But
after
we
the fact.
will have a discussion for the Screen Actor Guild and obviously the Oscars.
Absolutely. So we'll be covering those things as well. We didn't do it because we were just relaunching, but at the end of 2020, which I know it looks for, that's far away, we'll probably do a Film Brothers Awards and we'll name our own awards to the best movies of the year. So it's going to be an exciting year at the Film Frequency. But enough of the business part. You can follow me at CEOHaize, at CEOHaize. You can follow us collectively at the Film Bros. And this has been soon to be the number one movie and film podcast around. Period. Point blank. We'll see you lovely and beautiful people next week. Peace.